You know, I'm one of those people that's all about letting bygones be bygones. You know, it's no sense in crying over spilt milk, things that happened in the past. And well, in this case, this event happened very recently, just last summer indeed. And well, the event that I'm telling you about, well, it's important because there's events that's happened this year that will continue to translate back to the events that happened last year. You're asking or thinking, Purple People's out. What are you referring to? Well, I'm referring to two individuals, a husband and a wife, that, well, I'll let you be the judge of whether you think it was appropriate or inappropriate. Please don't let your biases, well, get in the way of the story. The story goes like this. There was a group of protesters who were protesting a council member. And well, they had to get into a community. In the community where the council member lived, well, it just so happened it was a private gated community. And well, it's a bunch of where the really wealthy people live. And they don't want to live around the poor people. So, they kind of arrived. And they don't want to be around the peasants. They're doing a little bit better than you in their certitude. They have a mansion. They have all the trappings. All the things that they can't stay inside of this year. They're just so, well, tired of being stuck up at home. I mean, you paid to have 7 bedrooms. You paid to have 9 bathrooms. You paid to have golden chandeliers down to the floor. You paid to have baby grand pianos. And now you don't want to stay in your home. You can't stay there. You got homesickness. You don't want to fuck your wife in, well, the different bedrooms each night. No? You want to get out your house now? Oh my goodness. Well, anyway, it was one of those type of communities. And well, there was a Black Lives Matter protest because they were upset with the city council member about a policy that the city council member was in favor of that they weren't. And so, well, they came into the gated community and they were protesting. But well, they were met. They were met by a husband and wife. You know, I'm not sure if well, some of you are really young. You don't know what Frankenstein is. But that's the way this guy looked. He looked like Frankenstein. And well, his wife looked like, well, she looked like Frankenstein's wife. Anyway, they both looked horrible. And well, they came outside brandishing guns. He came outside with a semi-automatic machine gun. And she came outside with a handgun. And they pointed these guns at the protesters who were unarmed. They were just coming there with megaphones and, well, carrying signs. And they pointed loaded weapons at these people and told them, well, you can't come into our building. The problem was they weren't coming into their building. They were doing a march. They were marching down the street, chanting. And they weren't going to that house. That just house happened to just be in that private community. But anyway, these two clowns, the name of the gentleman is Mark McCloskey. He's not really a gentleman, but I have to be respectful. You know what I think of trash like that. And well, his wife, Patricia McCloskey. Now, these were high-profile lawyers. That's why they could afford to be there. They had done enough conning and gambling and stealing in the system that they could afford to upgrade. Anyway, well, these two conservative knucklehead Nazis, well, they pointed loaded weapons at kids because most of these people at the Black Lives Matter protest that day, they were teenagers and in their early 20s. And well, rightfully so, those people were very upset that they were having loaded weapons pointed at them for no reason because they weren't there to see those two knuckleheads. They didn't even know who those two knuckleheads were. They were there to go and protest the city council official. Anyway, well, wouldn't you know, it's against the law to point loaded weapons at somebody if they haven't done anything to you. They're not threatening you in any type of way. You don't point a loaded weapon at somebody unless you plan to fire it. And well, if they weren't planning to fire those weapons because the people hadn't done anything to them, they should be prosecuted. And they would be prosecuted. Let me just tell you this example. Let's just say the story stories or the sides were flipped. And well, a bunch of the YFA kids, the Christian Bible camp thumpers, the real racists of the planet, they get together every once in a while to have their conventions. The Freedom Caucus kids, all of those clowns, the 1776 kids, they love Jesus. Hi there, I don't love you, and none of us love you. But anyway, I digress. Well, they get together and they hold conventions at private institutions, namely colleges and universities. Now, I thought just for a moment, because, well, Mark McCloskey and Patricia McCloskey, they're being held as heroes on the conservative side for pointing weapons at kids, teenagers. I thought if the shoes were on the foot, so to speak, if there were a group of black people that had loaded weapons pointed at, well, the YFA Christian kids at universities as they walked by to get into their convention, I thought that they would be considered terrorists. Oh, the DOJ would have prosecuted those people. The FBI would have come down on those people. The local police would have come down on those people. The district judges and all the legal system would have come down on some black people that pointed weapons at some white Christian kids. Oh no, they probably would have been lynched by now. It's the United States of America, a not racist nation, according to our politicians. Anyway, well, that didn't happen, but it did happen the other way. Now think about it. Just think about this for a moment. If a bunch of black men had gone outside and pointed some guns at white Christian kids, you wouldn't have liked that America, would you? See, you don't like when the shoe is on the opposite foot. You're sort of kind of, hypocrites to say the least. The hypocrisy reeks. That's why everybody's just about over America. Well, even the people that are planning to succeed, they don't sort of kind of like your rule. Anyway, what do you think about that? Mark McCloskey now, wouldn't you know? Well, yesterday evening he went on Fox News, Tucker Carlson, the white nationalist reporter, sort of kind of like Goebbels for Adolf Hitler. Anyway, he went on Tucker Carlson's show and announced the run for the United States Senate in Missouri. He's running for Senate in Missouri, folks. The man who pointed a loaded weapon at children is running for Senate. Now, let me just say this. I used to live in Missouri. Missouri's got nice people. Missouri has got Overland. You got Kansas City. I never understood that. Kansas City is part of Kansas and Missouri. It's crazy. Crazy, I tell you. It's one of those things that perplexes an owl like me. Missouri. I know you got a lot of nice people. And then you got Rush Limbaugh, who is from Missouri. You got trash, too. Everybody does. Oregon has got trash. They want to move it to Idaho. Well, the trash wants to move itself. So, I can't blame you for having trash. Because everybody does. But Missouri, take it from the purple people's eye. Let me give you a little bit of advice. Don't make a Nazi a United States Senator. He went on Fox News and complained about critical race theory. And then cut an ad the next day and said, aren't you tired of the division? They want to make everything a divide. Black versus white. Liberal versus conservative. Rich versus poor. But who went on Fox News the previous night and criticized critical race theory? And well, if you haven't seen the previous video I did, to summarize, critical race theory is, well, a theory that was propagated by the African American community for the horrors and horrific nature and atrocities committed by the white community during slavery. And well, it offered solutions to the problem. And well, what do you know? White people don't want to teach about it by and large. Not all the white community, but the vocal white community. The people who happen to be conservative and Christian. Anyway, well, this clown who pointed loaded weapons, well, he's running for Senate in Missouri. He shouldn't be a senator. He should be in prison. Because I guarantee you, if the shoe was on the opposite foot and a bunch of black people, or Hispanic people, or Asian people, or, well, Satanists or Luciferians have pointed guns at Christian kids in the United States of America, that would be the talk of the town. It would be the rage. But see, double standards galore in the empire. You see, white Christian conservatives can point loaded weapons at black people, but black people can't point loaded weapons back at them. That's hypocrisy. That's, well, it's a double standard. And, well, it just simply is not going to go anymore. It's not going to be tolerated. You know, it led to later Kyle Rittenhouse. And Kyle Rittenhouse is a story and a video all of his own. But basically, his mother drove him across state lines. He lived in Illinois, another place we're familiar with. And then he drove to Wisconsin, another place we're familiar with. And, well, he murdered 2 separate Black Lives Matter protesters. And, well, he severely injured a third. I'm pausing because I want to make this explicitly clear to everyone that listens. If you think that we're going to go for your attacks against us and we won't respond back, you're sorely mistaken. Oh, we'll respond back. You know, Mark McCloskey, you should be in orange. Orange is the new black, you know. That's what they're saying anyway. You should be in prison for what you did. Because if anybody else had done it, they'd be in prison. You know, it's double standards galore. It's double standards season. We hope that this is a better summer than last summer. But we're expecting this summer to be uniquely different in a lot of different ways. And, well, hopefully everybody can enjoy the sun. Buns out. You know, the CDC said you don't have to wear a mask. But, well, we all know that, well, not much has changed. Last year, Mark McCloskey pointed guns at kids. This year, he's planning to run for Senate so he can make sure the laws are changed to, well, more people like him can point loaded guns at kids and maybe even kill kids like Kyle Rittenhouse did. You know, things are getting pretty bad. And, well, there's going to have to naturally be a response back in kind. You know, let somebody have pointed loaded weapons at Christian, white, conservative kids. That would have been an uproar. But it's a heroic move if a conservative does it. Well, if it's good for the goose, it's going to be good for the gander soon.